Hi guys, so basically I was going to do a normal video and then I got home and I was looking in the mirror. This is like the devil, this mirror, it's like 10 times magnification. I was like, oh, let me just see, you know, what's on my face. And I was just like horrified at my nose. Like there was so many, you know, those white like oil spots. So I tried to like manually remove them with, you know, this, basically it's like a little tiny circle and you apply pressure and then the oil thing, whatever it is, comes out. And I was like, no, it's too many. So I'm going to put, you know, them black masks. The video that I'm doing today is basically my hijab story and the actual real reason why I wear hijab. And it might, you know, a lot of people might not agree with the reason that I wear hijab because it's not like, you know, the textbook reasons why you should wear hijab. But they're my reasons, and if they're keeping the scarf on my head, I don't care if people don't agree with them. But I'm so shit at multitasking. I'm sorry, I just need to cover my nose quickly. I don't know if anyone's like this, but I could have left this till later. But do you know when you're like, you look at your eyebrows and you see like a random hair? Like, I swear to God, there have been times I've been out and I see her and I keep feeling the hair that's out of place. And I literally go to Boots and I buy tweezers and I pull it out because I can't stand it. My nose right now was one of these things. Anyway, so back to the purpose of the video. So basically, I touched up on this a bit, my 3 husbands vlog, and a lot of you will know, just to kind of quickly background it, I put my scarf on when I was 8 years old. Not because I really understood what it was, but because my entire family wears it. So I thought, you know, I want to do it. Like, it was like a cool thing at the time for me. Personally, obviously it's not a cool thing to do when you're 8 years old, because what do you know about what's cool and what's not? But I was just like, oh, I want to wear like what you guys are wearing, my older cousins, my mum, etc. So I put my scarf on then, and never ever felt insecure about it. At the time, my dad, he was all about, you know, academics and work and, you know, career. And he's like, you know, he felt like it was going to be a handicap for me, so to speak, you know, in the career world. And my dad always wanted me to be a doctor and blah, blah, blah. He was very, very against it at the beginning. So what would happen was, obviously my parents separated, so I'd see my dad in the weekends and I'd see my mum throughout the week. So I'd wear the hijab throughout the week, and when I used to go visit my dad during the weekends, I'd have to wear a hat. 8 years, that was pretty much my life. I didn't ever blame my dad for doing it. Like, I knew he did it with the best of intentions. Like, obviously you see your daughter, you want her to have the best chance at life, and I think that's what his kind of motivation was. And also, I didn't understand the reason behind the hijab. Like, to this day I don't really get it, and I'll explain that in a second. It got to the point when I was 15 and obviously a bit older, a bit more rebellious, and I was like, you know what, I'm keeping it on. Like, it's not up to you. So I pretty much kept it, and he kind of gave in at that point. Obviously I'm older, I understand more the trials and tribulations of wearing the hijab, so he kind of, you know, let loose, so to speak. I was then wearing it. Normal, I met my, you know, then husband at the time. Everything was fine with my hijab. Like, I never ever really had a problem with it in my younger years, but I think after 15, after when I fully put it on, and it could also be because my dad made me a bit conscious to the fact that you are treated differently with it on than without it on. I started to struggle a bit with it, in that I used to ask, say, my cousins, and I'd be like to them, do you like feel like there's something on your head? Like, are you conscious of it on your head? And they're like, no, it's like part of me. And I always used to be conscious of it on my head. Like, I used to feel like it was on my head. Whenever I met someone, like for the first time, or just in work environments, you know, uni environments, like, I was very conscious of it. And I would feel like I would have to go above and beyond to kind of equal my non-hijabi counterpart. Which is crazy, I know, but that's how I was feeling at the time. So I was struggling with it so much, so I thought, you know what, let me just kind of style it differently. And that's when that was about 2011, I started wearing it, you know, a bit more, you know, matching it up with my clothes. Like, had my style going on at the time. That's also when I originally started YouTube, because I got so many girls messaging me, oh my god, you wear it so nicely, the la la. You know, then telling me make YouTube videos, do tutorials. So that kind of helped me with accepting my own hijab, because, like, whatever, like, you know, you can say what you want. Like, every girl's insecure, and for me that was a massive insecurity for me. So seeing people like accept it and actually look up to it and the way that I was wearing it, it made me feel better about wearing it. So I then obviously got married, and you know, forever in my life I'm very, very out there, very, very loud. I really don't care what people think, and because of that I kind of got not the best reputation. And I hadn't done anything up until this point. Well, I had a boyfriend technically who then later became my husband, but other than that I was an angel. Whilst I was married, I was, you know, continuing with these YouTube videos, and I think the talk of the community at that time, like I was making myself public, you know, being very, very open, like people would have more to say, of course, and that kind of put a strain on my relationship, and it kind of put a bit of rebellion in my heart, like against the hijabs. I know it wasn't to do with the hijab, but it came from a community that the hijab is the most important thing, and oh my god, if a girl takes it off, that's it, like she's so loose, like that. At the time, I know it's not the same now. Now it's a lot more accepted to take off the hijab, but back then it was like, oh my god, like even my mum was like, it was like the biggest haram for her. Like after drinking, that is the biggest haram for her. So it was a big deal, and but the more it put a strain on my relationship, the more it kind of made me not value my relationship as much as I should have, and think in my mind, I want to be rid of this kind of judgment that I'm getting associated with the hijab. Like if I wasn't hijabi, no one would sit there and say, oh, she's so loud, or she's so public, or she's doing this, or she's got that friend or that. No one could say anything, or she's going shisha. No one could say anything to me if I wasn't wearing the hijab. That was my view at the time. After I got divorced, I decided to remove the hijab, which was the worst possible time, obviously, because obviously all eyes are on you at that point. So I took the hijab off. When I took the hijab off, I found myself spiraling a bit out of control into this kind of world of like going out, you know, in the evenings, and I don't want to go into detail, but it was not a world that you want to be part of. It was a very, very shallow world, and I got sucked in pretty hard. And I remember reaching a point where I was completely emotionless. Like before, if my mum would even get upset with me, I'd cry, just upset. I reached this point where she was crying like in front of me, like wanting me to go back to how I was, and I just felt nothing. And even then it didn't really hit me. So I carried on living my life in this self-destructive way. About a year later, I had an accident, and something happened. I couldn't disclose that because TMI, totally TMI. And it did not show me in the best light. But it was, you know, it was an accident of some sort. And it was a bit of a wake-up call, because I came out unharmed, and I was just like, oh, what am I doing with my life? Like I'm just going so crazy right now. Like I need to do something about this. Like I can't keep doing this. At that point, I decided, you know, I'm going to put the hijab back on. Not because I was fully convinced of it, but because I was like, this is the only thing that's going to stop me from entering that world, because how stupid am I going to look going into like a club with a hijab? Like it's not going to happen. Like maybe I've let go of all my morals, but that one I'm going to hold on to. Like I'm going to cherish that bit. Like I'm not going to be like completely like sold and finished. So I was like, you know what, okay, fine. So I'll put the hijab on. Put the hijab on, obviously unconvinced of it. I started working in a law firm. My undergraduate degree is law, and then I did the LPC afterwards. So I finally got a job in a law firm. Not finally, I was working in law firms before that, but like a proper job. A proper full-time paid job in a law firm, because it's so difficult to get into law. Well, it's getting easier now, but it was very, very difficult back then as well. So I finally got a job in the law firm, and my boss, who was an Iranian Jewish woman, she kind of took me under her wing and showed me the ropes, you know, kept promoting me to higher places, you know, became manager of caseworkers. Like it was just kind of, I was kind of really in the adrenaline of just kind of going far in my career with law. And kind of with that, she expressed her similar kind of view that my dad had back then of, you know, it will kind of stunt you at some point. So, you know, you should just take it off, what's the point, blah, blah, blah. And obviously I'm like, no, but inside, she again threw a little seed. I'm like so insecure. Anything can just throw a seed inside of me and just it will grow and like evolve and like explode. But anyway, so again, it put some sort of doubt in my mind, and I think one day I just went to work after like 6-7 months of working there. I walked in, like I used to walk in every single day with hijab. One day I just walked in without hijab, and it wasn't just without hijab. I'd got my extensions. Like I just went all out, blonde. I think I shocked everyone. I was like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this properly. So that's what I did. And I was like, this time I'm going to do it for the right reasons. So that's what happened. I kind of fell back into that spiral again. And then I met my late husband, you know, still wasn't wearing hijab, and obviously he passed away. And I think when he passed away, I was like, I'm not going to just do it just because, you know, he's passed away. So I kept it off. I used to cover my hair just like, you know, Iranian style, kind of just cover a bit of it. Just, I don't know why we do that, but like out of respect, like you're not hijabi, but out of respect, just covering like half of your head. Like I don't get that, but I did that. I don't get it, but I did it. So I was kind of wearing it like that. I had like families and friends, men, male and female, coming to visit, and I would keep it like that. And then one day, a friend of my own came up to me and said to me, "Oh, you really should put the hijab on, because you're still like technically under his." I know this doesn't make sense, but under his neck. Does that make sense? That doesn't make sense. But in Arabic it makes sense. Inti برغبة بعدك. So basically it meant like he's still kind of responsible for me. So any haram I commit now, it will kind of go to him. So if you watched my last vlog about my husband, how he died, you'd know that was one of my biggest fears, his afterlife. What I could do to kind of like give him more. So I was like, you know what, if on the off chance, and I wasn't convinced, but I was like, on the off chance that this is such a haram thing to not wear a scarf, I'm gonna put it on because I don't want anything to happen to him. And I was like, then I'll take it off after a while, after I'm no longer his responsibility. I kept it on for a couple of months, and then I reached this point, and it was also during my grieving period that I reached this point that I was like, why have I spent my entire life trying to please others? Like why do I care what, you know, the West thinks of me wearing my hijab? Like why do I care if they're not going to employ me? Like I could be dead tomorrow. I did not care about anything at that point. Like I was just like, I need to just please my Lord. I need to please my Lord. So I was like, I'm just going to keep it on. Who cares if they think negatively of me when I walk in a workplace? Who cares if they, like, I just didn't care at that point. And I was like, I'm just going to keep it on. On the off chance, that's kind of where me keeping my hijab on this time around stemmed from. What I said earlier is that in terms of me not being fully convinced with it, I think it's very, very subjective, the hijab. I think if you're living in a fully Muslim country where everyone's wearing it, then yes, you are going to bring attention to yourself not wearing the hijab. Like it's going to be like you're going to get attention. I felt, you know, it was and this is my personal belief, that if you're living in a westernized culture, the hijab is a bit more subjective in that wear modest clothing, because to differentiate you from, you know, people that don't wear modest clothing, majority don't wear hijab. So you not wearing hijab, and this is just my justification for not wearing it, this is not to say that's the correct thing, this was my justification into why I wasn't really fully convinced of it. It's like, it's very, very like, in comparison, when you're here with so many people, not only do they not wear the hijab, they wear really non-modest clothing as well. So to differentiate yourself from them, all you really have to do is just be modest and wear modest clothing, not necessarily the hijab. That's why I kind of, you know, I can never ever point the finger at anyone not wearing hijab and think I'm better Muslim than them. I cannot do that. I reached this point, and the reason I've got it on, and a lot of people will not agree with this, because they're like, oh, these are the reasons why you should wear hijab, etc, etc, in the Quran, a hadith, etc. Like, I'm just telling you how I feel, and how I feel is, yeah, it might not be necessary. Where I live, I don't think it's that necessary because of, you know, the people around us. But on the off chance that it was so fully necessary, I just feel like it's such a small trade to make to keep it on. Just on the off chance that I will be punished for not wearing it. Like, what would I say to myself? Oh, it was worth it. No, I've had my life without hijab. It's really not that amazing. By the time I took it off and put it back on, I realised there was no glorification about taking the hijab off. There's nothing like, yeah, it's different, but it's not necessarily a good different. But so many people like messaging like, I want to put the hijab on. I also get messages saying people, I'm struggling with the hijab. Like, why are you struggling with it? You're struggling with it because of people, because of how people perceive you and how you feel that you are perceived by people. These people, none of them are going to be standing with you on the day of judgment. None. Like, you're going to be standing alone, and are you going to feel at that point that removing it was worth the punishment that you may get? May or may not. I'm not look, I'm not all knowing. I don't know. And a lot of people are going to disagree and be like, no, you will get punished for not wearing it. You just don't know. But I'm just saying that on the possibility that you will get punished for not wearing it, I just don't want to, that risk is too much to take. I was like, it's not worth the risk. I'd rather keep it on, not give a shit what anyone thinks. Or we don't care. Like, how long are we going to be here? 10, 20, 30, 50 years? And we're going to die. Are you going to honestly feel deep down that was worth it? That you took it off and now you're facing your Lord and you're being, like, questioned for it? What are you going to say to him? Oh, because I thought I'd get further in my career. I thought it would change how people perceive me. I thought it would get me more on my deen because I can focus more on, like, you know, the Quran elements and fasting elements, praying elements. No, it's just not worth it. And that's kind of the reason it's stuck on. And that is the reason. And people might think, oh, that's not a solid reason. And like, no, it's so solid that I would never ever consider watching about 2 years time and like have another video like, yeah, I took my scarf off again. No, I'm joking. I would never take it off again. Like, I've fully, I might wear it not right, but end of story is I will never remove it. No matter what anyone says to me, I will never remove it. Because no matter what it is, no matter if it's accepted or not accepted, it's still trying and it's still a step in the right direction. And that's enough for me right now. I'm going to remove this now because I can't. Oh. I can't. Oh. That's very, very flattering, isn't it? I hope people don't misconstrue what I've said in this video. Like, yeah, I'm telling you and I'm being honest with you and I'm telling you I'm not fully convinced that it's necessary in this day and age where we live, depending on obviously where you live. If you're living in Saudi Arabia or like, you know, a Muslim country, then yeah, I think it is necessary. Because compared to the masses, if you take your hijab off, you're gonna stick out like a sore thumb. But, you know, in places like Britain, America, wherever it is, I don't feel the same. But at the same time, I'm telling you that I don't think it's worth the risk. If it is this thing that is so much required within our religion, are you okay to take the chance? Sorry, this must look really disgusting, right? I mean, and when I ask myself that question, I say no, it's not worth it. Whatever reason I have in my mind, it's always like relating it back to death. Like if you go, and there's always one story actually that it always gets to me, like the story, like it gives me shivers. A girl I know of wore hijab her entire life, like, and she was older than me at the time. So she decided to take it off around, I don't know, 28, 29, 30. In her later years, a week after she took it off, she fell down the stairs of her own house and died. But what are the chances you die from falling from your own stairs? And that gave me such shivers. It was almost as if he's like God, because God knows, like when you take off your hijab, like I swear, no matter what anyone says to you, it's so difficult to stick on the straight and narrow. Eventually they'll reach a point where you'll start justifying things for yourself. I'm not talking about the big harams like alcohol and clubbing, like other stuff. You'll start to justify them for yourself. You know, going on holiday, it will then be okay for you to wear a bikini. Maybe not a bikini, maybe, but you'll start wearing strapless, like things that you would never ever do as a hijabi, you'll start to do when you take off your hijab. And I'm speaking from experience, from the other side. Hello from the other side. Like, this must look so off-putting, but I don't care. Like, I just need to fix my nose right now. Clearly I'm due a facial. Okay, so this girl, like, imagine like a week after, your entire life you've worn your scarf, a week after you take it off, you fall and die. And in the most like freak accident like that, like how, what are the chances you think you'd fall down your stairs? I mean, yeah, you might get paralysed, but what are the chances in your mind do you think you'll die from a fall down your own stairs? To me, that was almost God kind of like, he's showing mercy on her. He's like, I love her too much to let her go down this spiral. You know, obviously he's all-knowing, he knows what's going to happen after. And I'm speaking from experience, and I know it's so easy to fall in that. It's not so easy, it's almost inevitable. I'm not saying you'll fall to the very nth degree, you might not go clubbing, drinking, etc., but you will fall to some degree, and you will start to kind of lax your own rules for yourself. So he almost said that, you know what, I don't want this for this girl, I'm going to take her when I'm most pleased with her. Remember the thing I was saying before, like, you know, that's the dream, that God takes us only when he's most pleased with us. So, I mean, that, just hearing that story, it really sent kind of, it really got to me. Like, it made me think that, you know what, like, what are the chances that something like that could happen? And can you imagine, like, you do something that you know might not be the fully right thing, which, let's be real, taking off a hijab isn't, if you're wearing the hijab, taking it off is not really a step in the right direction, so to speak. I'm not saying, you know, I'm not undermining anyone's reasons for taking them off, but it's not, you know, wherever you go, up, down, left, right, you can't say it's a step in the right direction, even if you've convinced yourself, which is what I did. So I was like, yes, I'm going to take my hijab off and I'm going to focus on my prayer and my blah 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 blah. Did not happen. And then, you know, you get taken to God, like, is it worth it? That's literally what I keep asking myself. Whenever I think to do something that, you know, is questionable, or I always think to myself, like, shit, imagine I get taken now. Imagine I get taken tomorrow. Honestly, it just gives me panic attacks just thinking about that. I'm just like, no, like, it's just not worth it. And honestly, you know, the title of the video is Why I Wear the Hijab, My Real Reasons. And I don't really have any solid reasons, but that's okay, because hijab's the journey. You know what, whether you do it or you don't, you have your own reasons for it. At the end of the day, I've got it on, and that's, if people think I don't have it on properly, that's, you know, their beef. That's nothing to do with me. You know, between me and God, I mean, God knows what's in my heart. It sounds so cliche right now. That's like that meme when they say, oh, when girls, whenever they do something, like on the first date, they're like, I'm not usually like this. So sorry, that was just completely digressed, but yeah, so I mean, logically speaking, this is something between you and God, and if you are thinking about taking it off, I would just really between you and yourself, weigh out your reasons. Because like, when I was trying to take my scarf off, people would come at me with all the reasons why I shouldn't, and I used to kick back at them with proper logical answers. It would pretty much shut them up. Like, they would come in trying to convince me to not take it off and kind of leave, they're speechless, because I came up with really good reasons. And it's only because I convinced myself, like, the brain is such a powerful thing. I convinced myself so much that taking off the hijab is going to remove that judgment aspect. People won't look at me and think, oh, Muslim, so any little bit that I do towards Islam is going to be great. People are going to appreciate it. It's almost like, do you know when you see someone Christian listening to the Quran, and you literally, in the masses, people start praising, and Muslims start praising, oh my god, no, no, no. Or example, Lindsay Lohan, when she starts saying, mashallah, assalamu alaikum. Like, I'm not being derogatory in any way, but I'm just trying to show you how hypocritical Muslims are. Literally all of them started following her, and, you know, like, they don't mind it. Like, when you're not perceived as a Muslim and you do things, like little things, even though they're tiny steps, you're amazing. But if you're wearing a hijab and you just a tiny bit fall short of your, you know, Muslim duties, you're a like, how is that okay? How? People are crazy as to like, haram police need to kick back a bit. Like, honestly, like, deep down, like, when someone tells me take off your hijab, or what are you doing, you're supposed to be a hijab, we take off your hijab, like, deep down inside me, I think they're ISIS. I think you guys are going to be the perfect recruits for ISIS. Like, seriously, like, I mean, the way your logic is set up, it doesn't work, which is kind of equal to ISIS, who think killing innocent people is going to get them to heaven somehow. Do you actually think God's gonna be like, hey, you're going, come meet your 70 virgins? You're like blind date with Cilla Black. Come. Behind curtain number 1, you have virgin number 1. Curtain number 2, virgin number 2. I feel sad for these people that they've actually reached this level of not thinking. I can't even say this level of thinking because it's not thinking. And if you've convinced yourself, like, it's not logical. Like, do you know what? Yes, we got given our rules. Yes, we got given Islam, but we also got given a brain. By God, by that same God that gave you the book, he gave you a brain to use, not to follow blindly like a sheep. And that is probably the biggest, you know, source of these extremists, is they don't use their brain. They just follow blindly. Someone tells them, God said this. God said kill yourself and kill 17 people with you. Makes sense. It's like, bro, shut up and sit down. Doesn't make sense. It's this stuff, right, sounds so like logical to anyone listening to it, but can you imagine that you've reached to a level of illogicality, which isn't a word, which we're going to make a word for the purposes of this exercise, that you actually believe that? Like, someone tells you that and you're like, yeah, that makes sense. No man, I think ISIS is an extremist form of these haram police, so not all haram police who talk shit about hijab and like music and your eyebrows, etc. Not all of them. There are some, and I've received messages from some who genuinely in their hearts believe that what they think is right. Like, you are cursed if you're tattooed. You're not going to go to heaven if you've got a tattoo, or you're not going to go to heaven if you are a camel hump, or you're not going to go to heaven if you chisel your teeth. I don't even know what that is. Like, what is it? Okay, I know it is, but it just sounds funny. You're not going to go to heaven if you pluck your eyebrows. There are genuine people that believe that and they want to advise you, and they do it privately. You're like, hey, you know, I don't really agree with you, but I'm not here to change what you think. Like, you're obviously built this way. But some of them, like, seriously, I need to kick back a bit. But yeah, not digressing too much. Back to the hijab. My reasoning is very, very flimsy. It's like a very flimsy argument. Do it just in case it's wrong. But it works for me. And that's enough for me right now. Like, and the fact that I've experienced that life without hijab, you know, that very, very open lifestyle of, you know, going holidaying, beaches, and you know, all that you could possibly imagine. I've done it. And not all. Most of all you can possibly imagine, I've done it. And I've come back around in my sane mental state of mind. And I'm like, you know what? I wish, honestly, this is my biggest wish. I wish I could wipe out those years of my life. And I can't. And they're going to be with me until I get trialed for them. And God's going to, you know, question me on them. And I'm really not going to have, I'm not going to know what to say. And I can't even say, oh, that was part of my hijab journey. Because no. You know, God's given me so many chances. I mean, if I take off my hijab this time round, honestly, like, seriously, if God doesn't give up on me, I'm going to give up on God. Like, God, seriously, you have to, like, clearly I'm a lost cause. Let go. Stuff like, I don't mean like that, but obviously you guys know what I mean. But honestly, like, why live your life to please others when on the day of judgment, when the minute you die, which can be today, can be tomorrow, can be next week, can be in a year's time, you don't know when it's going to be, but when it comes and you're alone in that grave, when you're facing your Lord, are you going to think it was worth it? I took off my hijab. It was worth it though. Anyways, I don't even know, as usual, I don't even know if this video is coherent or I've probably got definitely not got no structure because of the fact that my battery was low and I was like, oh, am I going to complete this? Am I not going to complete this? And then I thought, yeah, I'll complete this. But yeah, guys, I'm kind of running out of video ideas. I've got 1,400 messages unread on Snapchat and I really should go through those because I'm sure I'll get video ideas there. But I just can't. I'm very much a procrastinator when there's too much work and I'm like, it's building up, I need to leave it to build up some more. But yeah, so if you guys just think of any good videos, you know, talking story time videos, I really don't care. Like, you guys know now, like, I leave not much to the imagination. So I don't mind talking about anything, really. Just ask me and I'm gonna say it. But I just can't think, like, I just reached this point. It's like a plateau. You know how you get, when you're losing weight, you lose so much weight and all of a sudden you hit a plateau where you don't lose any weight. Even if you starve, you won't lose weight in that plateau. Because your body's adjusting to the low calorie intake, etc. I've reached a mental plateau. I can't think of anything right this moment. I probably will in a week or so, but just to keep my videos frequent as they have been, drop me comments, or even like maybe a random Q&A. Like if you guys want to ask me anything, absolutely anything, drop it in the comments below this video and I'll answer it in a Q&A. Maybe while I get ready or something. Don't forget to comment, like and subscribe down below, and switch on your post notifications, because as you guys can see, I'm uploading quite frequently. That is all. And make sure you follow me on Instagram, Snapchat, if you don't mind food snaps and me mindlessly lip syncing sometimes. Yeah, that's all. Bye guys, see you.